After going 23-11 and making a NCAA tournament appearance, Fred Hoiberg and Nebraska bring in 8 newcomers. I'm going to go over some film on the offensive and defensive side. Fred Hoiberg and Nebraska might try and run this season. Something that has become a staple for Nebraska offense under Hoiberg is the use of handoffs. They use them to get shooters open, get passing lanes open. I'm going to go through a couple plays of them right here. This one, we're going to first look at Tominaga, and that was what a lot was ran for. So this is kind of in transition, and this big man right here, which is Most, he's oftentimes going to be trailing and then ending up at the top of the key here. And now once he gets the ball here, he is a handoff hub. So Tominaga can come off, he can reverse it and go this way. But on this one, Tominaga is going to come off. And it's going to be a quick action. I mean, you can look at the shot clock here, right? There's still 24 seconds left on the shot clock. But because the action can be so effective and there's so many options from it, Tominaga is just going to quickly get into a shot. Now, Rutgers makes a mistake of going under the screen here. Obviously, that is a mistake because once that happens, then Tominaga can just pull up. But these quick handoffs were something that Nebraska went to a ton. But now Tominaga is no longer on the team. So who are some people that might take some of these handoffs? And I think one prime example is going to be incoming transfer Connor Essegian. And so, although he didn't necessarily run a ton at Wisconsin, he has the capabilities, the shooting abilities to be effective out of these handoffs. And so look again here, top of the key for the big, similar to what Nebraska would do. And honestly, it's pretty similar to a Nebraska set in general. Now, Store right here is just going to back cut, and then this is going to set up a handoff for Essegian, who's coming off. It's acting sort of like a pin down with this one, being a little bit more moving, but in a Nebraska offense, like the cutter could be a legit option. You can go to this handoff, you can keep it moving, and there's just a lot of stuff. And now Essegian, very quick release. He knows he's coming and getting up the shot, and he gets to it right away, shows off the shooting ability, and knocks it down. Now, part of what makes the handoffs just so effective for Nebraska is they have had big men that can pass. And last year was Most, and unfortunately with him having the season-ending surgery, there's going to be a void, and somebody's going to have to step up if they're going to continue doing this. Maybe it's somebody like Juwan Gary, maybe it is one of the transfer bigs, but it's going to be a big hole that they fill. Because look at Most right here. So he catches top of the key, and now Nebraska's kind of going into their stuff. He's going to get it again. This could be a handoff right here. He keeps it. Now he's going to set up a pretend handoff for Tominaga. And so like that first play, right? Tominaga can come off the screen, and he's such a good three-point shooter, you have to respect it. Tominaga knows this. And so, okay, I'm just going to back cut. My guy's going to be overplaying. I'm going to back cut. And what allows this whole thing to be successful, really the whole kind of system, is that the big man can pass. Most was a very good passer, and so he's able to make this back cut bounce pass right there and get Tominaga a layup. If you are enjoying, please like and subscribe. Now, the next kind of concept we're going to go to is a lot of pin downs and off-ball movement. Nebraska's offense is definitely a read and react type offense that primarily wants players to kind of have freedom of movement. You have set kind of rules within the movement, but there's not as many set plays. It's a lot of, hey, read and react, we're just going to get to our stuff. And one of those things is pin downs, and Nebraska went to them a lot, and it's kind of an extension of the handoffs almost. So again, common thing, Most at the top of the key here, but now they're going to flow into just this staggered pin down on the weak side. And so this is going to be right here. This is going to be Bryce Williams coming off it. You see the 2 pin downs right here. And so now he has an option. He can kind of flares out to 3. He can try to curl. He can catch and try to facilitate. Right here, he keeps him moving. And so now it's going to be, again, an off-ball screen. So now he flows into this, and he's going to get this flare screen, which now is hit from Most, and he's able to rise up and knock down the 3. Another incoming transfer that I think fits really well into the system offensively is Gavin Griffiths from Rutgers. And so he is another guy that has good upside shooting, although he struggled last season, but he can be this movement shooter. He can run off pin downs. He can run off handoffs. And so just kind of looking through, like, some of his best looks were off kind of actions like this. And so he's going to be in the weak side corner over here, and you're just going to see, like, he's going to be set a pin down on the weak side, and he's going to be able to come off, and he reads it well to get a shot. Rutgers is going to flow into their thing. Now it's a pin down. And so Griffiths is just going to read his defender. He kind of stops here. And now once the defender tries to go over the top, Griffiths is just going to kind of flare back out to the corner. It's a good read from him, being able to then catch the ball in rhythm, get a good look from 3, and able to knock it down. Keeping with the theme of off-ball movement, Nebraska was one of the best cutting teams in the entire country. They cut everywhere, and they also were very effective at cutting. So we're going to go through a couple plays here. Juwan Gary being the primary guy that's just very, very good at cutting for Nebraska. And that's going to translate. Kind of just with that athleticism, with that energy that he brings. So top of the key right here. Again, Mass is going to get it up here. And we've looked at this kind of play before, right? Where now you're going to see this back cut, and this could flow into a handoff. Again, Moss, so many options for him for Mass right here, just being able to pass, facilitate, score. And so now with this simple back cut, he doesn't even worry about trying to flow into this handoff. Look at all this spacing, because Nebraska has such good spacing. Wisconsin is somebody that doesn't always provide a ton of help. So now this back cut's right there. Gary's able to get it, go up, and get the and one. Bryce Williams is another guy that I think cuts really well, and he's very, very versatile. Like, Williams is a guy that can just kind of do pretty much anything that you want on offense. He can facilitate, he can run pick and roll, he can cut, he can run off pin downs. Like, you name it, and Bryce Williams can do it. So we're going to look at this play right here. Again, Mass at the top of the key gets it. You're going to see that's a very, very common thing for Nebraska. So this time, he's just kind of looking. There's a pin down set on each side. He doesn't like it here, so now he's flowing this way. What's really fun about the Nebraska offense is that read and react. So Williams is going to see, look, he makes that little jab. So now the Michigan defender is going to jump this way. Williams is going to back cut. Now with this being Tominaga, you cannot provide help off him at all. And then there's this weak side action, this weak side pin down. Look at where the defense is focused. There is no defensive focus at the rim. It is purely on what's up here. And so now when you have Mass being able to make this pass with that cut, you're going to get a layup. If you want to see a breakdown on all the newcomers for Nebraska, I have it linked below. Definitely go check that out. The kind of question I think with the offseason moves that Nebraska made is, do they run more pick and roll? They did not run a lot of it last year, but with a lot of new players, there is the chance that they do. I think Bryce Williams is a guy that can do it. They have an incoming transfer, Raleigh Worcester, that I think also is more of a true point. We're going to go through a Bryce Williams possession here first, but I think these kind of pick and roll opportunities are going to be there more. So this is going to be a horn set, 2 guys at the elbow, 2 guys in the corner, ball at the top. And they're just going to flow into a pick and roll. Tominaga is going to come off this exit screen over here. And now Williams, just at his size, like, I really like his passing ability. He's able to draw this to Amori up a little bit. And now as Alec rolls, he's able to hit him on the roll in rhythm and allow him to get a shot at the rim. And what will be most interesting is Nebraska has a true point guard for the first time in a little bit, to be honest. A true, just pick and roll point guard, pass first guy in Raleigh Worcester, transferred from Utah. And he ran a ton of pick and rolls. That's what he's done. And so how much is Hoiberg going to try to balance what he's ran with also trying to incorporate maybe more pick and rolls? Something I'm going to be monitoring. You're going to see the pick here. This is Worcester right here. Comes off the screen, does a good job engaging this big right here on this drive, because since this big is in drop coverage, his goal is to keep the roller and the ball handler both in front of him. So now as Worcester is able to engage him, he's reading this man right here. If he digs down and helps on the big, he knows he's going to have a kick out to the wing. If he stays put, then he's going to have something like this, a little lob up to the big, and allows him to go get it and then have a good finish. The other reason I mentioned pick and roll is that they're going to have their biggest pick and roll lob threat that Nebraska's had in quite some time as well. And that is going to be in 7'1" transfer Braxton Mia. Now, like I said, if you want a full film breakdown on them and all these transfers, go check that out. I have it out on my YouTube already. But here, they're going to roll into this, and Mia, what he does is he sets screens, he rolls, and he dunks the ball. That's just what he does offensively. He gets some boards too. And so here's the screen. Washington is running Spain pick and roll, so they're going to try to set a back screen on the big here. And now as that happens, the defender's caught up. This defender is not going to be able to get back in time. You see Mia pointing up, just say, hey, throw it up. And that's what happens. And then he can go up and just finish it. So now moving to the defensive side of the ball, Nebraska runs close to a no middle type system. And what that means is they want to take away kind of all drives towards the middle of the lane. They want to force sideline. They want to force baseline for the most part. They aren't the most extreme with it. Some teams very much take away any sort of thing across the middle, but they have a lot of those concepts within their defensive system, and it kind of allows them to play different players and just be kind of covering up different deficiencies. So here in this example, they're going against pick and roll right here. You notice that switch right here, but on this, what I want to show is against the post, which is obviously a big thing used in the Big Ten. Even against this mismatch, even if there wasn't one, there's going to be this backside help always here. And so now as this lob pass is going to be coming, look at Gary. He's already kind of timing it up. Okay, he knows that's going to be my job. My responsibility is to get there. And so now he's double teamed, and Renew gets pushed out right there and forces a turnover. And something it does a great job of is taking away the rim. Like, that is kind of the goal behind the defense, is to not allow much stuff in the paint or at the rim. So you can see here, kind of out of the baseline, out of bounds. It's a baseline drive. You're going to see multiple guys there. Okay, now as he resets, look at where Mast is forcing. He is forcing baseline right here. Gary's going to be there to help. And now this weak side defender, Lawrence, he's going to have to come over and take the big. Now what that happens, okay, now Hall has to kind of retreat. He's trying to find somebody, and now it's a cut. And so Nebraska's going to be fine giving up this shot, because as we look, Tominaga gets lost maybe a touch off ball, but you can see they're trying to just take away these passes with this trap. If this skip pass happens, they know they're going to be able to rotate well. And so now they're just going to give up something like this, good recovery, and then they force the miss. And so then here on this play that we are going to look at, high ball screen, Nebraska a lot of times will have their big kind of at the level. So sometimes they hedge and really try to push the ball handler back. Other times they just kind of play him at the level here. And so you can see, I mean, they're forcing the ball handler to try to go into the big right here and kind of away from the screen. Now that kind of just forces, okay, now Minnesota has to kind of regroup. Now they're going to float to the other side. And as Payne tries to drive here, there's just going to be multiple guys kind of there. It's actually a pretty good pass from Payne right there. But again, right here, now Gary's going to try to force baseline. Alec is going to be there. And so what this does is this is forcing kind of a floater and a tough shot instead of getting all the way to the rim. Watch a little more full speed right here, but kick out. Gary's, okay, overplays, forces baseline, and now they're getting to a floater. One thing that the no middle type defense that they run forces teams to do is take a ton of threes. They were near the top in terms of amount of three-point attempts that they allowed on defense, and that's going to be a common theme again probably for Nebraska with trying to take away the paint, force perimeter shots. So you're going to see here, ball screen. Now Nebraska's going to be more of a drop here, and that's where like they aren't the most like steadfast, we are forcing no middle type team, because they allow this right here. But now as they flow into that, again, going to force baseline where the help is already going to be. And so they're fine with this. I mean, there's 5 guys essentially in or right near the paint, and they're fine with this kick out, knowing that they're going to rotate out. And then they force a 3, and it's a fairly contested 3. They did a very good job of contesting them, and that's just kind of their common theme, is buying into rotations and allowing those shots. It also at times really forced teams to just have to slow down their offense and just take time and kill time offensively. So now here, okay, Wisconsin's going to flow into their normal kind of side pick and roll stuff. Ball's moving across the top. And so now with 10 seconds left on the shot clock, you're going to see Alec way up top. Ball handler is being forced kind of into this corner right here. And you can see the help on the backside. You have 2 guys kind of peeled way in. Tominaga's there if needed. And so now as Wall catches it here, you already are in position. Mast can come up and help. You have your low man rotated. Tominaga knows, okay, these are my 2 guys now. And then from there, they're just able to find good results. So now Tominaga is going to rotate out. And then that's, again, just trusting the rotations and living with those kinds of shots, knowing that that's just kind of what they want to give up and are willing to do. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and click here for even more Nebraska preview content.